Justice now.
Now, what do political campaigns do with donations? Yeah, you kind of wonder. And I don't think that people are aware that it does take money. You hear about it, and you hear these big, huge dollar amounts too, don't we? We hear these big, huge dollar amounts, and maybe that's because, maybe that's the reason why we don't really do very many, we don't support the different candidates in that way, financially speaking. We hear all of the millions of dollars, and it's overwhelming. And it's, oh, well, they have the millions of dollars, but in my day to day routine and grind of living, I don't have the resources or whatever. Maybe we think that. But, sometimes it's a good idea to think about voting with your dollars. Now, we've talked about how you can support Black businesses, and you vote with going and doing business with African American owned Black business, so that they can stay in business, but then that's a way to vote. You're saying, okay, I support this business. And then, of course, you're telling your friends about it and your family members. Hey, this is a great place. I have great customer service or whatever. I receive great customer service. They have great products. So, that's a way to share. Well, when you're dealing with politics, it's no different. It's no different. We don't get these people in by chance. People aren't just voted in all of a sudden by chance, or they don't run for these particular seats. They don't run in these campaigns. They don't become candidates just by chance. It's not like they wake up in the morning and someone is just all of a sudden there's a name that appears on the campaign trail or the ballot box. That's not how it happens. They run, they think about it, they run, but then they have to tell people that this is what's going on. And part of the campaign political, the donations for that are given, that's used for the advertisement. You'd be surprised, just to get the word out. Now, advertising budget, we did talk about how social media can really cut that budget down, and it does, right? But there's still some other things that need to go on, and that are just good for the campaign, because we're looking at the state of Missouri. Mm, The state of Missouri has millions of people in it. So, how in the world are we going to get the word out that this candidate, Dr. Gina Ross, here in who lives in Platte City, in the state of Missouri, right? This is the Kansas City side. How are we going to get the word out to the rest of the state, whether they be in St. Louis area or the Springfield, Missouri area? It takes resources to do that and to work across the state just to make it happen. So political campaigns, they do involve considerable expenditures. Now, I actually went out. These resources are out there. Information is out there. Now, what we do some scrubbing. We scrub. We check to the and research the stat, right? We do our best to do that. And we just don't regurgitate. Some people get on and it's like, okay, well, we're just going to say the same thing that this person said, that this person said, that and on down the line. Well, you want to make sure that what you're sharing is correct, right? So it does take, it involves considerable contributions or expenditures. You're looking at travel costs and candidate staff, political consulting, advertising, we just talked about. Campaign spending does depend on the region. And this is something that Wikipedia was sharing. And it's a little bit out there, not a whole lot. But for instance, the United States, you have the television advertising time. Now, it does cost. And the opportunity to get to that point, Yeah, there's some costs in that as well. So the money needs to be raised to maintain the campaign. It will diminish if you don't have resources. It's just like anything else. It does take money. And there's some candidates, you'll hear that there's some candidates that they'll put up some of their own money. These millionaires, we've heard some of those in the past. They'll just put up some of their own money and run. And that's cool. Um, but also too, you want to kind of know that these donations, when you do receive donations, people are wanting you to share their interests and they're voting to say, hey, this candidate has the same types of interests that I have, right? So, and that's important, but then you don't want to be bought. Right. So the candidate has to kind of think about, well, yeah, I'm going to receive this donation here, but just know that this is the platform that we're running on, and these are the points of interest that we're really focusing on. We believe these are important and kind of go there. Um, so anyway, you're talking about raising money. Contributions are important. So when you're thinking about your candidate coming up here, this political time frame this year, 2022, which is an election year, when you think about it, think about who you're wanting to represent you in the state of Missouri, but they're going to the United States Senate. So they're going to sit in Washington, right? So who do you want to represent you in Washington? And we've got some really interesting people that that have gone to Washington and that are sitting there in Washington even now, right? All right, let's look here. Now, Uh, continuing on with what do political campaigns do with donations? Was just interested. I wanted to take a look at what he's a current senator here in the state of Missouri, and he was voted in 2018. So that was the year when his term was when he was voted in. Now, 2018, he ran his election in 2018 and his campaign fundraising, it was from 2015 to 2020. Now, this resource came from opensecrets.org. I got a little bit there, but I'm going to show you where the primary financial information for any United States candidate is, and that's at the FEC.gov, the Federal Election Commission.gov does monitor and the reporting for the donations and donations are given there for the candidate. Now, I liked the opensecrets.org uh, information here, and I just pulled just a tiny bit of it, but it just has a nice picture of Josh Hawley. Just, you can see him, and it tells a little bit, armed forces, homeland security and governmental affairs, judiciary. These are the committees, small business and entrepreneurship. So the uh, the campaign raised, now this is a high number because when I did compare it to the Federal Election Commission, the FEC site, this was a little high. Okay, but it says that you raised 14 uh 22,893 dollars. Okay, that's what was raised, and this was for the 2015 to 2020. Now that's during that time frame, which was beyond even when he ran, which was 2028. But it also shows too the source of the funds. Now there are all different types of organizations and companies that do donate to candidates. And you ever wonder why candidates are endorsed by this. Endorsements are super important, right? Because of course, that's what they're saying, that they're really supporting this candidate because they have the same types of values and they want to see those changes and they want to see that representation, the voice that speaks for them. They want to see that in that particular political position, right? So large, they gave numbers on the large individual contributions that were given. And that was like 8,775,529. Okay. So large individual contributors, they had small individual contributors, that was those that gave less than $200. Okay. That's that category. And those that gave less than $200, that was like $2,485,763. Okay. Then you had political action committee contributions, and they gave to Josh Hawley's campaign $1,211,241. Okay. But it shows that the percentage, most of the funds, the campaign funds that were raised for this fundraising efforts the donors were large individual contributions, and that was at 62.58%. So that those that can contribute big dollars did to Josh Hawley. You know, Josh Hawley is a Republican, and of course, he's a state of Missouri senator. State of Missouri gets 2 senators to represent them in the United States Senate. Okay, now the candidate self-financing. How much money did Josh Hawley give to his campaign? $0. See, $0. Hey, don't get me wrong. If someone else is gonna foot the bill, okay. But you know, I don't know. What do you give, right? If you believe in what you're doing, I guess you're giving really your whole self, right? Your conversation and your intellect, your everything. So you're doing that. Uh and that's kind of important to know, right? But really, too, I don't know, grassroots is a little different because you're going to put up your money and you're going to do and spend your resources and do what you can. And that's kind of showing a passion when you can put up some of your funds. That's a passion move to me. So anyway, that was where the numbers there. But uh, again, this he's going to run again the election in 2024. So not this year. This is the year that Roy Blunt would have ran, but he's not going to run. He's just going to move on, and that's giving uh, the opportunity for other candidates to run. Which, of course, one of the candidates is Dr. Gina Ross. Now, the 2024 election is oh, he already has uh, donations set up, contributions, total contributions. Now, this is coverage date. That's January 1st, 2019 to September 30th, 2021. This is what he's reported to the Federal Election Commission, of course, which monitors the finances for campaigns committees. And already, Josh Hawley, according to this report, has $9,095,477.07 already. Okay. So just because he's not up for reelection per se, he's not up for reelection right away. He's not up for reelection until 2024. You're still in election mode, right? You're still in, let's work with the campaign. We know we're going to need resources, and you're still campaigning, even though you're not campaigning too aggressively campaigning to get to that point to where you're going to have an election within the year, right? So just keep that in mind. And that kind of shed some light on, I saw it. I'm like, wow, we're not going to wait till the last minute to try to support our candidate. Once they say they're going to run, our best bet is to get out there and let them know, let the whole state of Missouri know that our candidate is running.